An elite school in South Wales has faced criticism for cancelling an invitation to a Jewish journalist to speak to students. Why? Well, because a pro-Palestine group warned that it would endanger their emotional safety. Jonathan Sacerdoti was set to address students on journalism and anti-Semitism at UWC Atlantic last Sunday before his appearance was scrapped at the very last minute. And in an ironic twist, the independent school was originally founded by a Jewish educator who fled the Nazi regime with the aim of promoting global understanding. You couldn't write it, could you? Well, journalist and broadcaster Jonathan Sacerdoti joins me now. Good evening, Jonathan. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. Free speech is so important. We have to expose students to all sorts of opinions and attitudes that they might disagree with. When they say it would endanger their emotional safety, what do you interpret that to mean?
I don't want to be too dismissive. I understood from the school in the long discussions we had whilst trying to plan the meeting that their student body is made up of people from around the world. It sounds like quite a unique enterprise, the school. They educate people from the royal family of Spain, but also people who come from refugee camps in the Middle East. And so they said that that means sometimes on certain topics, some of the students might be emotionally triggered or might find it difficult to hear perspectives that are different from their own. But the problem is that I went along with all of that and was willing to accommodate all the needs they had in order to make sure that I was sympathetic and gentle with the students in the discussions that we'd have. And in fact, the reason that I was invited in the first place is I think some of the students at the school had felt that their views hadn't been well represented over the last 17 months since October the 7th. And they wanted to have somebody who could put across some element of the fear that a lot of Jewish students had and a lot of Jewish people as a result of the massive rise in anti-Semitism that's been going around the world. So I think that the school had this tough job of trying to balance the two, but I think they completely failed because despite all of my reassurances and despite my reputation, which is for being a calm and rational person in public events and debates, they decided that it was just too risky or dangerous or threatening to even have me in the room with the students. And I really think that was the wrong decision.
It makes my blood run cold, actually, Jonathan, to hear this, because effectively the youngsters, how old are these kids that you were going to talk to?
Well, this is a sixth form school, so they're all, you know, the couple of years before university.
Yeah, 17, 18, some of them might even still be 16. They have decided and they have effectively overpowered the adults in that organisation, and you presumably taken the decision out of their hands. What are we teaching the next generation about tolerance and understanding and listening?
Well, again, I don't want to make any assumptions here. I was told by the school staff who I dealt with that there was a problem potentially with some of the students, but I only know that from them. For all I know, the teachers or those organising the event didn't like my opinions or my views or think that my presence was appropriate. And I have heard since then that some students were quite upset that I wasn't going to be coming to the school to speak as had been advertised to them, even potentially some of the students who didn't agree with things they'd read in my analysis online. And the point is that I am somebody that is outspoken and well known in certain circles for my views and analysis on these issues. I've been campaigning against anti-Semitism pretty much all of my adult life. My father was a Holocaust survivor, and as such I've been very finely tuned to those sorts of issues. Now, this school was founded by a refugee who left Germany to escape Nazism. It's the same man who also founded Gordonston, where the king was educated, and he believed in making educational institutions which would bring together people from around the world and also instill in them kind of endurance and toughness. And I would have assumed that would also extend into freedom of discussion and thought, and that the whole point of having people from different perspectives speak to the children is in fact to give them new perspectives, new ideas, test their thoughts and ideas and have an engaging conversation, which is my ultimately, when they did offer me that I could address the children children, but only through a pre-recorded video that I would have to send them. And even the questions that the children would ask me had to be vetted and sent to me for me to give pre-recorded answers. I did decline that offer because they cancelled what I felt was a far more constructive and useful idea, which was a two-way conversation between real people in one room. And that way I could have gauged what the children were making of what I said. I could have heard their thoughts and arguments, and we could have had an actual dialogue. And I would have thought that's exactly what the school should be trying to promote in general. But I think they massively failed both the Jewish and Israeli backgrounded children who maybe wanted me to be there, but also all of the students, because it's part of their education to learn how to deal with ideas they don't necessarily know or agree with.
Well, apparently not, Jonathan Sakadosi, which means we're staring down the barrel of basically a future of more division and less reasons to bring people together. A spokesperson from UWC Atlantic told GB News, UWC Atlantic is an international college with children aged 16 to 18 from diverse backgrounds, including those who have direct experience of conflict and trauma. And we have a deep responsibility to ensure all discussions are conducted with sensitivity. The college regularly hosts events and workshops with internal and external speakers to provide a wide range of perspectives on world affairs. These are designed to foster constructive dialogue, utilising mutual respect, critical thinking and peace building. They go on. We explored alternative formats to ensure that discussions could take place, but unfortunately Mr Sakadosi declined these options and we were unable to find a mutually agreeable way forward. We remain committed to fostering open and meaningful discussions that enhance our students' understanding of important world issues.